Okay, g'day again. Alright, we're back on the ST. It's been a long time coming, this project. And yeah, I've shown sort of some of this before, but as far as the fairing goes, but I was really having an issue trying to match up this this plastic front cover with the fiberglass fairings that I made, and I'm still having issues with it. But yeah, it was just impossible with the wheel on. So yeah, I'll show you how you get the wheel off. I was very hesitant to do this because this has got computerized ABS brakes on it, which I know nothing about, and I didn't want to interfere with any of that. And it also appears to have, it's probably like an anti-dive mechanism or something there. There's a plunger there which has to be working off the oil pressure, I would think. That's probably anti-dive or something. Anyway, after a careful examination, it's a little bit different on the other side. You got this Allen key bolt here, and these are two different sizes. This one and this one. There's one in here that holds your sensor for your ABS, and also fits on the back of this other bolt that you have to undo too. So yeah, that was the first one you take out. You undo your ABS sensor, then you undo these two, and then you can pull the caliper away. You can't actually get the wheel off because without removing the calipers, they're in the way, and that's probably the case with most modern bikes now. And yeah, the other side's sort of similar, except you've only got the two bolts here. You've got this one here, and this one here I took out, and I was able to pull it back. And I'll put them back in there so they're not swinging on the cables, or especially with that sensor, you don't want it swinging on the wire and breaking the wire. What I have noticed here is I've got a fork seal leaking. Again, I've changed fork seals before, and usually this hole up underneath here, up in there, will be an Allen key screw, and sometimes you can just undo it, no problem at all, and other times there'll be a nut on the back of it, which is an absolute pain. You have to hold it. I don't know if I've actually got a tool made up for another bike. It's probably the FZR. But yeah, I had to get a long piece of Rio bar, take the caps off the top, and weld a nut onto a long piece of Rio bar, and it was a T-bar, and I weld a bar on the top of it, and it went right down, fitted into a socket in the bottom of that thing. So yeah, that's, haven't not done this one, and I'm not absolutely sure about this anti-dive mechanism too, so I'm going to do a bit of research before I undo this, and yeah, if I do it at all. I should. I think what will determine it too is because I got too many projects and not enough money, and it might well be determined by the cost of the fork seals. The actual fork seal I could get cheap from the bearing shop, What you can't get is a dust cover. The dust covers you have to buy originals. There's just no way around them. They got to be the right ones. And if you don't replace the dust covers, you'll just end up with dirt in your seals and you'll chill them out again. So, yeah. In a lot of forks, and I had this issue with the FZR. And I replaced the seals and the actual bushes were worn out down inside it. And it was really disappointing when I put it all back together and found that it actually had movement. The tubes had movement inside it. And you sort of notice it when you're braking heavy. You'll notice it sort of chatter a little bit. But this didn't appear to have any of that issues. This was all solid, so I'm not concerned about bushes in this. And so I'm still undecided whether I'll even change it at all. I really should. I don't know. As I said, it'll be determined by the cost of the seals and what's involved in pulling it apart. So anyway, just wanted to show you in case anyone needs to get their front wheel off, don't undo any of your lines or interfering with things with them too much, It's just these couple of bolts, 3 on this side, 2 on the other, the unkey bolts. Separate, get your calipers off. With the axle itself, the axle is held in place by the clamps at the bottom. These 4 12mm bolts, and when you're undoing them, just undo these 2 first and leave this one clamped up, and that will help hold the axle still while you undo the nut. That was quite tight too. I had to get the meter long bar to get that undone. So, and it was probably over torque, but I'm going to check the torque on that. I could look up a torque on this, but it won't be much. I'll just go by what I would normally put on bolts that size. But what I will be doing is putting a little bit of Loctite on them. You don't want bolts like that. You didn't want them coming undone. They'll kill you if they come undone. And anyway, you see I'm trying to match these into this plastic. There's a good thing about plastic when you're working with plastic alongside it, and it's something I've learnt making fiberglass too. If ever I can find something plastic to mould off, it's really good, because you don't even have to wax it or do anything to it. You just lay the fiberglass straight over it. It won't stick to the plastic, so it's not an issue. So you can see I've laid right over the side, but it didn't actually form the edge. See on here, you've got this bit of a lip, and that's what the other's supposed to sit into it. And by going over the top, I sort of know where the edge is, but it still hasn't built up the edge for it to sort of clip into properly. I'll show you over here. So what I'm going to have to do now is sort of laid it over the top, and I've trimmed it back to where it meets with the plastic. But in order to get this edge now, I'm going to have to lay a whole lot of fiberglass down here on the inside. I could do it with putty, but it's not really strong enough. Especially considering like most of this outer glass will get ground off, so to bring it flush. So I really have to do it with resin. But what it means is I've got to lay the glass on there and then hope it all stays in place while I bolt it back together, and get it all bolted up tight before any of it goes off and sets. The other thing I'm doing at the moment is I've put brackets on. There's 3 of them, 3 mounting brackets, and you'll notice, the first thing you'll notice is that they're aluminium. I only ever use like aluminium or stainless or something that won't go rusty. If you use just a normal steel plate, no matter how well you paint it, try and seal it, it will crack and the water will get in there and it will rust, and then the rust will expand it and break the joint. So yeah, don't use regular steel, because the water will get in there and it'll go rusty no matter what you do, and eventually it'll break it off. So you see I've drilled holes in them, and normally I drill the holes before I put the thing on there, but I didn't this time. I sort of forgot about it. So I've had to drill them after, and I've got just got a bit of masking tape on the back there, just enough to hold the resin in. But yeah, the reason you drill holes in it is so that when you lay the glass over it, it soaks into the holes and it bonds through from the top to the base, and secures it. The other thing you'll see is I got putty on there around the edges, and I'll sand these dag bits off, just get it smooth. But the reason you do that too is that if you lay glass over it, you'll get these air bubbles that'll go right around the side. And air bubbles in fibreglass are a weakness, it will crack there. So it's best to fill them in with putty. This is what I've done. Unfortunately, because there's 3 different angles, you can't put fibreglass, basically relies on gravity, or relies on its weight to hold it in place. So I can do 2 of these, but the 3rd one will have to be done separately. And that's a bit of a pain when you're doing fibreglass, mixing up tiny amounts, because you just waste a lot of it. So you always sort of try and get everything done in one go, but when you can't, you got no option but to waste it. And as I said, so I'll get these bits glassed up, and and I'll fill that with fiberglass and resin, and mould it all on while it's wet, and that should form the surface of the plastic it's mating up against. Then it will have to come off again all along this top edge, along here, they'll probably along the back here too. What I'll have to do is mask up the original plastic fairing. It's one thing, fiberglass won't stick to it, the plastic, but putty will. Well, I mean, you can still peel it off, but it will stick to an extent. So before I do all this puttying, then I'll have to put it back on, and I'll have to mask the surface on the plastic, and then putty all inside there and all along there until I got a nice fit. Then I'll have to take it off and rubbed, and primed and rubbed and primed again, and so there'll be probably another 3 or 4 times I'll be taking it off and refitting it and testing it before it eventually gets painted. So a lot of sort of frustrating, annoying things in building this sort of things. And so the amount of times you take it off, put it back on, put glass on, grind it off, put more glass on. So but that's the way it is. Anyway, rambling on again. So, yeah, thanks for watching. Hit the like, please.